on Local 5. In the midst of the pandemic, local residents wait in line sometimes for hours to cast their votes in Wisconsin spring primaries. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Tom Zalaski.
And I'm Erin Davison. We begin with the news from your local election headquarters. After a ruling by the Wisconsin Supreme Court yesterday, thousands of Wisconsinites brave long lines and the threat of contagion today to exercise their right to vote.
But with the consolidation of polling locations and last-minute changes, some northeast Wisconsin cities experienced long waits. Local 5's Rhonda Fox live now with more.
It's a tale of two cities of sorts. In Appleton, it was the better of times. Despite concerns about COVID, voters had little to no wait in lines. Appleton kept all 15 of their polling places open, which kept lines short.
For the most part, everybody seems to be pretty understanding of the circumstance and very cooperative. So that's been good. I mean, it hasn't been as busy as past elections, which I guess you can expect.
In Green Bay, it was the worst of times for voters. There were two polling places in Green Bay. At Green Bay East High School, voters faced long lines. At Green Bay West High School, voters faced even longer lines.
Then that was about 4 hours.
Voting lines wrapped around.
At this point, about a full hour.
And around.
I think the people in line, they knew people down the line, up the line. I saw several neighbors that turned around and went back home, and some neighbors just stuck it out.
Voters who stuck it out say they waited up to 4 hours at Green Bay West High School and were obviously frustrated.
So this is just kind of ridiculous because this is the first time I've seen something this long. I'm usually in and out. I vote and it's over with. And here where we might have to wait 4 hours, 5 hours, it's honestly a little ridiculous to me.
There's still people in line. It's rainy, it's misty. These people have been out here for 4 hours. And even though the polls closed at 8 p.m., anyone still in line will be allowed to vote. Reporting live in Green Bay, Rhonda Fox, Local 5 News.
Thank you, Rhonda. The city of Neenah consolidated its 6 voting locations all under one roof, the old Shopko building. The multicolored line system was designed by Assistant City Attorney with the overall goal of getting people in and out of the building as quickly as possible and with a minimum amount of social contact. Newly built plexiglass shields were in place throughout the building as an extra level of protection for those poll workers.
Menasha also dealt with the unique factors of this election today as they said goodbye to one of their own. City Clerk Deborah Galeazzi has been in charge of that election process for 22 years, but this is her last election. She was planning to retire even before the pandemic. She said today's election will end her career on a strange note.
The Local 5, your local election headquarters presents an Election 2020 special.
I've asked for the entire Wisconsin congressional delegation's help to get this bill into law.
We're going out in force, out into the streets to knock on doors and talk.
Tonight, the 8th Congressional District Debate.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Tom Zalaski.
And I'm Michelle McCormack. This is the 8th Congressional District Debate between incumbent Mike Gallagher and State Representative Amanda Stuck.
Tonight, they will have 1 hour to tell you why they deserve your vote on November the 3rd. And with that, let's meet them.
First, Republican Congressman Mike Gallagher, who was elected into Congress in 2016. He's a Marine veteran serving in Iraq and the Middle East. He worked in the private sector at a company in Green Bay prior to being elected. He serves on the House Armed Services, Transportation, and Infrastructure Committees.
And Democrat Amanda Stuck. She was elected as a representative to the State Assembly 57th District in 2015. She was an aide to former Congressman Steve Kagan. She has also worked with multiple nonprofits like Habitat for Humanity and the Red Cross, and she chaired multiple committees, including the Committee on Energy and Utilities and Housing and Real Estate.
Here are the ground rules for tonight's debate. The debate will last 60 minutes. The order of opening and closing statements was determined before the debate by a coin toss. Each candidate will have 45 seconds to give an opening statement. There will be 3 types of questions. One focused on the 8th Congressional District specifically. Second, national topics. And And third, questions from our Local 5 viewers.
Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer each question. They will also have 30 seconds for a rebuttal if they so choose. And each candidate will have 90 seconds for their closing statement.
We begin first with opening statements from our candidates. After a coin toss, Congressman Mike Gallagher will go first. Congressman?
Thank you. It seems like another lifetime, but it was around this time last year that my wife, Ann, and I found out that she was pregnant with our baby daughter, Grace. Grace was born just down the road at Bellin Hospital, and I will always be grateful to the nurses and the doctors who provided such excellent care for my wife and baby daughter.
I would like to start off by saying that certainly Mike Gallagher is a smooth talker, and what I would encourage viewers to do is to watch what he does, not what he says. And through the course of this debate, I will point out many areas where Mike Gallagher says one thing and then does another.
Tonight on Local 5, voting in the 2020 election has ended, and now the results are coming in. We've got the latest for you from your local election headquarters. It begins now. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Tom Zalaski.
And I'm Michelle McCormack. This is turning out to be an election night that will no doubt be taught in history classes in the future. An unprecedented amount of early voting across the nation. 96 million votes cast as of yesterday, and nearly 70% of the total votes cast in the 2016 election. Today, the number of people voting in person could exceed a record as well. There were long lines reported early this morning and then later in the evening during the final hours of voting. Some communities are seeing delays in reporting tonight as all the ballots are counted.
All right, we have live team coverage on today's historic election. Aaron Taylor with the Mike Gallagher campaign. Danielle Zukowski is with the Amanda Stuck campaign, as both follow the 8th Congressional District race. Rhonda Fox following the voter turnout, named by many as the largest in recent history. And Local 5's Chris Schuler with us in the studio, tracking some of the referendum questions that voters are going to be deciding on this evening. So first, we take a look at the latest results in the 8th Congressional District race.
Republican incumbent Mike Gallagher is running for a third term in Washington. State Representative Democrat Amanda Stuck is challenging him for the seat. Well, let's take a look at the latest numbers with 36% of precincts reporting. Gallagher with 66%, Amanda Stuck with 34%. The 8th Congressional District seat is one of the most watched elections in Northeast Wisconsin tonight.
And we've got Aaron Taylor at the KI Convention Center as the count continues this evening. Aaron?
Yeah, Tom, with the polls closed, this is where the action has moved here in Green Bay. What you're looking at behind me here is what officials are calling the central count. Now, it's being held here in the Grand Ballroom at the KI Convention Center. Each table here represents a ward in the city of Green Bay. The central count started at 7 this morning and will run until each and every ballot casted in the city has been counted. Mayor Eric Genrich gave us an update just moments ago.
Wanted to give you an update, of course, on the central count numbers. So as of 8:30, we have 20,316 absentee ballots that have been tabulated. So roughly, 2/3 of the way there. So it's going to be a little bit until those are all counted.
And of course, you can stay tuned to Local 5 tonight as those results continue to come in. For now, live in Green Bay, Aaron Taylor, Local 5 News.
All right, thanks, Aaron. In that congressional race, 8th Congressional, Amanda Stuck and Mike Gallagher. Amanda Stuck based her campaign on the way she worked her way through college to become a teacher, then a member of the state legislature.
Local 5's Danielle Zukowski is live in Appleton. She spoke with the candidate not long ago. Danielle.
And we are live here in Appleton. I did get to speak with Amanda Stuck earlier tonight, and she told me she is proud of the way her campaign has worked. The results are slowly coming in, and the gap is tightening between the two candidates, but she is waiting to see more results before she concedes to Mike Gallagher. She said that she is proud of her team, and they're proud of the work they've done for Wisconsin.
Right now, we're just feeling good about everything we did on the campaign. We certainly know that no matter what the results are, we did everything we could. We left everything on the field, so we can be proud of the campaign we ran, no matter what happens.
And now Stuck announced her candidacy on Local 5 last year after receiving a concerned letter from one of her constituents about the possible repeal of the Affordable Care Act, since that constituent's wife had breast cancer. Now we're waiting for more election results to come in this race, and we will continue to report on this as the night goes on. But for now, live in Appleton, Danielle Zolkowski, Local 5 News.
Danielle, thank you. So far, Congressman Gallagher not making any public statements at this hour. All right, let's check out the numbers in the 6th congressional district with 57% of the precincts reporting. There you see Glenn Grothman with 62% to Jessica King's 38%.
The presidential election, of course, the featured battle of the evening, 64% of the vote in. And right now, there you see the numbers. President Trump 51-47 over Joe Biden. Long, long way to go yet, because not only are there still votes to be counted tonight, but there are several states that are still going to be counting votes perhaps Wednesday or Thursday or Friday. There are some states that it's almost interminable as to how long they can count their votes. So,
absolutely. And what you're looking at right now is from our digital center, our social media desk. This is the electoral map of the United States with the real-time tabulation of the presidential election. And at this time, we have Democrat Joe Biden with 135 electoral votes, the incumbent President Donald Trump with 108. Of course, you need 270 electoral votes to capture the White House.
So, of course, everything everybody has been through in these past few months, it's the election thing. It's the main reason why so many people participated in this process.
And just like in other parts of Northeast Wisconsin, the Fox Cities is making its political voice heard. Local 5's Rhonda Fox is live in Appleton with that side of the story tonight. Rhonda.
Well, hey, Tom and Michelle, thousands of voters here in Appleton put their mark on history today by simply voting. But the big news has been those misprinted ballots and how they'll factor into election results. As you can see in this video, lines have fluctuated from sun up to sundown at polling locations throughout Appleton. And some voters had to deal with a unique problem. About 13,000 ballots have a timing mark issue that prevents some ballots from being read accurately by counting machines. Governor Evers sent about 20 National Guardsmen to Appleton to help remake those affected ballots. Here at Celebration Church, officials tell me they're one of the first districts to finish remaking those affected ballots. The voters I've talked with say they feel this wave of relief after casting their ballots in this landmark election.
If they're not doing what they want to do for us, vote them out. We have the power and authority to vote them out. Our vote matters in 2020.
Megan Wolf, Wisconsin's top election official, says unofficial results should be in by Wednesday. Live in Appleton, Rhonda Fox, Local 5 News.
Now, for more information on the local referendums, you know, those ballot questions so many have been talking about.
We've got Chris Schuler live with us in the studio with more on those results. Chris.
Well, Tom and Michelle, all evening we've been following various referendums in 6 communities across our area, and we have more results to share with you. In Brown County, 2 questions about creating fair legislative maps and the power of the county board to overturn decisions by the county health officer. Now, we're getting those results here for question 1 about creating nonpartisan procedure to draw those legislative maps. Voters are saying, yes, let's do that, 66% to 34%. As to question 2, which asked if the county board should be able to oversee the county health officer, voters are saying no, but it is a very close margin, and we only have 4% of the vote in. Also, results from Oshkosh asking for $8 million for operations. The school district there, voters are saying yes to question 1. That's money that will be used for security and other issues and upgrades. And they are also saying yes to question number 2, which was the big ask, $107 million for a new elementary and middle school. Voters so far saying yes, 56% to 44%, with 95% of that vote in. Impact the property owners because of that referendum looking like it's going to pass roughly $48 more a year starting in year 2021. Tom, Michelle, back to you.